is an important task for us for the poverty alleviation. And today we have invited several guests to attend our press conference. We have Vice Minister of Civil Affairs, Mr. Tang Chengpei, and he will brief us on the situation on issues of ensuring people's basic livelihood in the battle against poverty. We also have Mr. Liu Xitang, DG of Social Assistance Department of Civil Affairs, also DG of Policy and Regulation Department, Mr. Chen Hongbo, with us, Director for Guizhou Provincial Civil Affairs Department, Mr. Peng Yu, and also we have Head of the Linxia Autonomous Prefecture Civil Affairs Bureau of Gansu Province, Ms. Dong Xiufang, to attend the press conference. First, I would like to give the floor to Mr. Tang Chengpei. Ladies and gentlemen, friends from the media, good morning. First of all, I would like to thank you for your long-term support for our work in terms of the civil affairs. Today, we are glad to be here to brief you on issues on ensuring people's basic livelihood in the battle against poverty alleviation. To ensure people's basic livelihood is an important task for us to win the battle against poverty. The central government attaches great importance for people's basic needs. General Secretary Xi Jinping have made important guidance on many occasions. He required the Ministry of Civil Affairs to attach great importance to poverty alleviation through basic security and attend the needs of our people, so that we could bear the responsibility for poverty alleviation and provide social services to the general public. In particular, we have to attach great importance to people who are not able to work. We have to focus on the social assistance to make sure that all of our people's needs can be guaranteed as needed, so that we can secure the basic livelihood for our people. The Ministry of Civil Affairs have united resources from all parties and earnestly learned the spirit from General Secretary Xi Jinping and follow the guidance made by the CPC Central Committee and the State Council. We have considered people's basic livelihood as our top priority. We spare no efforts to ensure the basic livelihood for our people. We have focused on 5 areas of work. First, we have improved our general design. We will improve the mechanisms and institutional arrangements. The Civil Affairs Ministry has been working together with relevant departments and roll out a series of measures to strengthen the basic allowance scheme in rural areas, as well as some measures to alleviate poverty through development. We have improved our mechanism for the basic living standards and also gave support for people who are living under extreme poverty. We also improve our rule-based construction and reform. For example, we have strengthened the mechanism to assess the economic conditions for impoverished families. Also, we have improved our mechanisms to provide support to orphans and left behind, elderly and the children. Also, we have improved our social security mechanism so that we can better provide services to the disabled. At the same time, we are also doing a lot of work in poverty alleviation through relocation. And in the past 5 years, we have rolled out 97 policies and measures. By doing all of that, we can consolidate the foundation to ensure people's basic livelihood. Second, we focus on specific groups so that we can fulfill our duties to provide basic security. For example, for the disabled and people with severe diseases, these people will be included into the basic living allowance. For some impoverished households, their income level have not yet reached the threshold to enjoy the basic allowance. However, if these households have some personnel who are with severe disease, and these people will be included into the basic allowance scheme. So by doing all of that, we can make sure that we could meet the needs of those people as needed, and we could help and save those people who are in need. We're doing what we can to provide support to people who are living under extreme poverty and provide support to the orphans and the beggars so that we can help these people if needed. Also, we are providing a lot of support and adjust our subsidies mechanism to offer more allowances to people who are severely disabled. When we are adjusting all of those policies, we could help all of those people who are in need. For left behind children, left behind women, and left behind elderlies, we will provide more care to this group of population. Make sure that adequate support can be provided to ensure basic livelihood for these people. So these people's basic livelihood can be improved. Third, we will strengthen the coordination and unite all forces to win the battle against poverty. We will give full play to the leading group Office of Poverty Alleviation and Development. We have worked together with the Poverty Alleviation Office, the Disabled Association, share information as needed, and also we will collect data where necessary so that we can identify the targeted group who need to be received those basic allowance. We will combine the usage of the social assistance and the social forces. We will provide guidance to social organizations, charity groups, volunteers to provide support to targeted areas so that they could attend the needs of the impoverished population. By doing all of that, they could help to ensure the basic livelihood for these targeted groups. Since 2017, over 60,000 social organizations have been participating in the poverty alleviation initiatives, and they have implemented over 100,000 projects and invested over 90 billion yuan. They have made tremendous contribution in the fight against poverty. Fourth, we will centralize our resources and advantages. Especially, we have to focus on the poverty alleviation in 3 districts and the 3 prefectures. For policies rolled out by the Civil Affairs Ministry, we have focusing on the poverty alleviation in districts with extreme poverty. The central finance have also allocated a great amount of subsidies to provide support to those areas. In the past 2 years, we have allocated 15.8 billion yuan for poverty alleviation in 3 prefectures and 3 districts. So for the Ministry of Foreign with Civil Affairs, we have also allocated charity funds to the 3 districts and the 3 prefectures. Also, we have provided a lot of support and assistance to people who are living under extreme poverty. In particular, we have invested a lot for the renovation for the elderly homes and the nursing homes. For some of those elderly homes, they are not in good condition. In the past 2 years, we have made a lot of investments to do a renovation for those places. And also, we are doing a lot of work for the basic security for social services. We are helping with the poverty alleviation in the Luoxiaoshan district. We attended to different requirements from these areas to make sure that we can solve all of those problems. And also, we are doing a lot of work in poverty alleviation in 2 districts, one in Jiangxi and the other one is in Sichuan province. And fifth, we have upheld the strictest standards to ensure the efficiency to roll out the basic support. The Party Committee of the Civil Affairs Ministry will send out delegations to impoverished regions, and they will have inspections and investigations into those targeted places and to resolve key issues for the impoverished population. In the past few years, the central government had conference to discuss the poverty alleviation. We will focus on the issues that has been raised by the Central Task Force. For 3 years in a row, we have conducted a lot of work to improve the basic living scheme in rural areas, to correct some of the weak links, and to make sure that all the people can be included into the basic living allowance when needed. By doing all of that, we can ensure the needs of the impoverished population. So these are 5 key tasks that has been done by the Ministry of Civil Affairs. With the strong leadership of CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, we have gained decisive achievements in the areas of poverty alleviation. Right now, 20 million registered impoverished population have been included into the group of basic living allowance scheme, and all of these people also have been included into the category of people with extreme poverty. And some people will receive support in the nursing homes or the elderly homes, and altogether 20 million people have been included into the basic living allowance. 18.5 people have been included into the basic living allowance scheme, and the 1.5 million people has fallen into the category of people with extreme poverty. After these people have been included into the basic living allowance scheme or fall into the category of people with extreme poverty, some of their basic needs can be met. Also, we have provided living allowance and the nursing care allowances for the disabled and the severely disabled population. And also, we have provided a lot of help to the orphans, and more people can receive care and assistance from the social assistance department. So we have showcased our advantages in fighting against the poverty. And these are the general information about the poverty alleviation. Now I would like to take your questions. Thank you. Now is the Q&A session. First, please identify your media affiliation. In 2015, General Secretary Xi Jinping has rolled out 5 key measures for poverty alleviation. So one of the key measures is the poverty alleviation through social security. Can you give us more elaboration on this? So this is a very good question. Poverty alleviation through social security is playing a key role in the poverty alleviation. And the social security is actually an essential part for the poverty alleviation. So I would like to give the floor to Mr. Chen Hongbo to address your question. Thank you. Thank you for your question. As you have said, the Social Security program has played a key role in poverty alleviation. Ensuring people's basic livelihood is an important part for poverty alleviation, and also it's a very key measure for poverty alleviation. For people who are living under extreme poverty, we have to provide support, especially for those people who are not able to work. By having this program, we could make sure that no one is left behind in terms of the poverty alleviation. As for the positioning for the social security of poverty alleviation, in recent years, the Poverty Alleviation Office has worked together with relevant departments to solve the challenges that we have faced. And first, we have relaxed some of the thresholds to offer help to people who are in need. So start from 2015, we have actually relaxed the threshold of the income level for the impoverished household. Start from 2017, the income level has been improved for some of the people who are living in the rural areas to make sure that people's basic needs can be met. And this year, the standard for the basic living allowance is actually above the standard for the poverty alleviation. And also, we are giving more support for people who are living under extreme poverty. And the second, we are doing what we can to help and save those who are in need. Especially, we are focusing on the people with difficulties and people who are living under extreme poverty. So we will attend to both groups of people. Start from the 2017, we will review the data for the registered impoverished household and to make sure that we can include people who are with difficulties into the basic living allowance program. And some of the people who are living under extreme poverty will be included into the registered impoverished household. And this year is the last year for us to win the battle against the poverty, to make sure that all people can be lifted out of poverty on top of the routine review of the registered impoverished household. We will also pay attention to people who are incapable of work. And these people will once again be included into the registered impoverished household. And these people will receive the basic living allowance. We will conduct inspections. And we have rolled out investigations to 3.6 million people, and over 1 million people will be included into the basic living allowance scheme. So we are making sure that no one is left behind for this basic living allowance program. So for the eligible personnel, these people will also fall into the category of people with extreme poverty. And right now, these people have a good income level, and these people will be lifted out of poverty. With CCTV CMG, during our work in the poverty alleviation, the basic security is actually a key task for us for the poverty alleviation. My question is to Ministry of Civil Affairs. What work have you taken to ensure that the basic needs of our people can be met? Thank you for your question. As you said, social security and the social assistance is a key measure for poverty alleviation. It is actually the last defensive line for poverty alleviation. General Secretary Xi Jinping have made important guidance on many occasions, especially he attached great importance to those people who are incapable to work, because this impoverished population are not able to be lifted out of poverty through production or other means of measures. So in this circumstance, we have to provide basic social security to help this group of people. The Ministry of Civil Affairs earnestly studied the guidance from General Secretary Xi Jinping, and we have done a lot of work to attend to the needs of these people. We are making sure that no one is left behind for the fight against the poverty. So first, we have improved our regulations and policies, that is to improve the basic living allowance program. For all people who are eligible will be included into our social assistance program. The Civil Affairs Ministry have been working together with other departments, and we have formulated a 5-year action plan to offer social assistance to targeted groups. We are also working together with other departments to make sure that all the registered impoverished households can be included into the basic living allowance program, to make sure that people's needs can be guaranteed as needed. This is from the perspective of policies. At the same time, we are improving the basic living allowance scheme in the rural areas. For some of the rural villages, for some of the households, they may not meet the standard to be included into the basic living scheme. However, if they have some elderly people, or if this household have some people that have suffered from the severe disability, then these people will also be included into our basic security scheme. As I have said earlier, over 20 million households have been included into the basic living program, especially the elderly people, people with severe disability, and other vulnerable groups. And these people accounted for about 60% of all the people who have been included into the basic living allowance scheme. We are also acting proactively for people who are under severe challenges. We will provide help when necessary. And also, we will offer our help immediately to make sure that these people can be supported by the government, so that the basic living standards can be improved by these people. And this year, we are also coming up a proposal for the reform of the social assistance. And also, we are moving along with the legislation for the social assistance in the public. We want the government to play a key role to provide support to the impoverished people, especially people with extreme poverty. So we will improve the regulations and policies. And second, we will continue to improve our working mechanism. Especially, we have to identify targeted groups and offer help when necessary. So it is the first step, that is to identify the targeted group. In the past few years, we have been working with relevant departments, and we will roll out inspections to different areas, and also we share information with different departments. We also checking the income levels for households in certain districts. We will continue to improve the basic living allowance scheme in the rural areas, and we will assess the economic, the financial condition for the impoverished household. Also, we are encouraging the local authorities to handle the issues in relates to the basic living allowance scheme. So all the people who are receiving the basic living allowance will be registered. If these people are meeting the standards, then these people have to be registered. Also, we will publish the information when necessary. We will receive supervision from the society and to standardize the basic living allowance scheme. Also, we will improve our support and assistance to the impoverished household. With the development of our social living standards, we will say we will offer a better support to people who are receiving the basic living allowance. The General Secretary Xi Jinping have made important guidance that we have to improve the social security standard for people who are living in the rural areas. The Civil Affairs Ministry attach great importance to the rural areas to make sure that the thresholds can be relaxed, and some of the people who are living under extreme poverty could be included into the basic living allowance scheme. So after the impoverished personnel being included into the basic living allowance programs, their basic needs can be met. So the current standard is that by annual basis, all of these impoverished households will receive 5,842 RMB per year. So this is the standard for the basic living allowance. So this is actually decided by their last year's income level. On a monthly basis, we will offer them 487 yuan. And for these households, they will also receive some income through production and work. If they're not able to reach the minimum basic living standard, so that we will offer the 487 basic living allowance. So if these people receiving this basic allowance, then their income level can reach to an average level. And fourth, we will provide targeted assistance measures to individuals and households. We will provide classified support to different groups of people. For people after they receive basic living allowance who are still living under difficulties, for example, the elderly or people with severe disability, when necessary, we will offer extra basic living allowance. we will first analyze the family income, and where necessary, if they have a large amount of expenditure per month, for example, if they have elderly people, if they have people with severe disability, and they may have extra expenses per month, so that we would offer additional basic living allowance to ensure their basic needs. And for people who have been receiving basic living allowance, if these people have been lifted out of poverty, we will offer them a 6 months buffering time so that they would be withdrawn from the basic living allowance program. So after these people have been lifted out for poverty for a long time, and then these people will be withdrawn from the allowance program. And also we will provide temporary assistance to targeted groups. We would like to address their emergent needs. So these are the 4 areas of work that has been done by Ministry of Civil Affairs. First is to improve our regulations and policies. Second, improve the mechanism. Third, to improve the efficiency of the support and assistance. And fourth, we will provide targeted assistance measures to the impoverished household to make sure that these people's needs can be guaranteed as needed. So we have very solid foundation to offer social security. We have meet the goal to win the battle against poverty. Thank you. Next question. With China Daily, for extreme impoverished regions, we have a daunting task ahead of us. My question is to Ms. Dong Xiufang. So what work has been done by the Linxia Autonomous Prefecture to ensure that the people's needs can be met? Thank you for Mr. Tang's introduction, and also thank you for your attention to the situation for Linxia Autonomous Prefecture. In the past few years, we have been earnestly studied the guidance and instructions from CPC Central Committee and the State Council. We have rolled out a series of practical measures for poverty alleviation. First, we have focused on the service guarantee, and also we improve the regulation and policies, and we have a dynamic management system to manage people who are fall into the category of the impoverished household. For people who may fall back into poverty, we will also have a monitoring system to understand their financial condition. And also we are doing poverty alleviation through employment, and also we are offering a 6 months probation time for the impoverished household. After these people are being lifted out of poverty, and these people will be withdrawn from the basic living allowance program. And we are also doing a lot of work to offer social security to impoverished household. We also relax some of our thresholds for people who need to be receive the basic living allowance scheme. And the income level has reached 4,800 yuan per year. We are doing what we can to make sure that all people who are living with difficulties can receive help when necessary. And for people who fall into difficulties because of the epidemic or other reasons, we will also provide temporary help to those people. Altogether, we have provided support to 857,000 people. And also we are offering assistance to around 27,000 disabled and over 30,000 disabled in severe condition. We are doing what we can to offer extra help to this group of people. We will provide supplies and also we will provide financial support to people in difficulties. We are also pull all the people living under extreme poverty, and also we are offering care to these people. We are clarifying our responsibilities, and also we have dispatched delegations and also the officials to have a random visit to those people. We will offer supplies to people living under extreme poverty, and also we will provide care to people who are incapable to work, for example, to the disabled, the elderly, and the juveniles. To sum up, we have rolled out a series of feasible measures to make sure that people's basic needs can be guaranteed. Thank you. Thank you from Cover News. And this year is the last year for our fight against poverty alleviation. And because of the epidemic, what measures has been taken by the Ministry of Civil Affairs to deliver the goal for poverty alleviation? This is a very important question. This year is the last year for us to win the battle against poverty, and COVID-19 has hit us, and we have to consider several aspects for the poverty alleviation. So I would like to invite DG for Social Assistance Department, Mr. Liu Xitang, to answer your question. Because of the impact of COVID-19, we are aware that some of people has been spending a lot, so meaning that we have a grave challenge in poverty alleviation. So for the Ministry of Civil Affairs, we have been working together with the Poverty Alleviation Office of the State Council. So as we have just said, we are focusing on 3 groups of people. So for example, we will focus on people on the impoverished household and also impoverished household who may fall back to poverty. And for this group of people, we have analyzed data for these people, and also we found there are about 3 million people who are not included into the basic living allowance program, and for the 1 million people who are eligible will be included into the basic living allowance program. According to our data, and right now 20 million people have been included into the basic living allowance program. So we have met our target. And the second, we have relaxed our threshold to offer a minimum basic living allowance to people in difficulties, especially for low-income households. If they have some people who have been suffering from severe disabilities, we will provide more support. And also we are lowering the age for juveniles who need to receive the support. So previously, we will only offer the basic allowance to people above 16 years old. Now we have lowered the age to 13 years old. So in the first 3 quarters, we could see we have done a lot for the temporary assistance. And in the first 3 quarters, we have offered temporary assistance to around 7.4 million people, which is 56% higher than last year. And third, we have strengthened our work to provide support to impoverished households that has been suffered from COVID-19. we have come up with diversified measures to provide support to these people. So this year, in the first 9 months, we have allocated 184 billion RMB to support the people who are receiving the basic living allowance, the temporary assistance programs, and also people who are falling into the category of people with extreme poverty. So we are allocating more funds to impoverished households to help them with the poverty alleviation. And some of the additional funds will be supported to targeted districts, especially we are providing more funding to Hubei province. And this year, the funding is almost 9 billion yuan, which is 38% higher than that of last year. So with the strong support of the central government, we believe that right now the COVID-19 containment is receiving a good result, and we are confident that all the people's needs can be guaranteed, especially those people who are living under extreme poverty. Thank you. So my question is, for the basic living allowance, it's a very important part for the basic social securities, but still we are seeing some of the weak links. So how can we improve this situation so that we can provide targeted support to impoverished households? You have raised a very important question. The basic living allowance and the social security funds will save life for people who are living under extreme poverty. There may be some weak links and misconduct in local districts. And for some of the issues that we identified, the Ministry of Civil Affairs will work together with the local government and to improve the shortcomings. And so I would like to give the floor to Mr. Liu Xitang to answer your question. So thank you for your question. You have raised a very good questions. We have to ensure that people who are in need can be included into the basic living allowance scheme. And we have done a lot of work to correct the wrongdoings and to improve the policy and regulations. And in the future, we will work in 8 areas. First, ratification. Start from 2008, the Civil Affairs Ministry has been working together with the inspection group to identify all of the misconduct behaviors. And start from next year, we will make the inspection a routine process to manage the basic living allowance program. And second, open and transparent reporting. In the past few years, we have done a lot of work to publicize the information for people who are receiving the basic living allowance. And this year, we actually publish a hotline so that the general public can supervise our work. So in our official website of the Civil Affairs Ministry, you can check out the hotline, and you could also file some complaints for the basic living allowance. And this year, for the Civil Affairs Ministry, we have received 533 calls. And all of those complaints have been resolved. Third, restriction. When I say restriction, it's about the approval for the application of social assistance. We ask all the relatives of the officials in the local governments. So if those people need to enjoy the basic living allowance program, these people have to register their personal information. And also we will roll out investigation and inspection to those people, especially to the key leaders of the villages. And for these people, they also have to have a platform to share the information about the basic living allowance scheme. So for the Civil Affairs Ministry, first of all, we will set up a list for people who are eligible to receive the allowance. However, for the local government or villages, they also need to provide the relevant information for people who have to receive the living allowance. First, they have to publish the information, and then these people can receive the assistance from the banks. And fourth, we will improve the mechanism to offer the social security. We will designate and set up the service stations, so people who want to receive the assistance and support can come to those stations to register their information and receive support when necessary. Thank you. Next question. With Economic Daily. So as Guizhou province is also one of the key areas for poverty alleviation, I want to understand what measures has been taken by the Guizhou provincial government to ensure the basic needs can be met. In 2015, General Secretary Xi Jinping had proposed the idea of 5 key measures for poverty alleviation. In Guizhou province, we have a large amount of people who are living under poverty. In order to protect the bottom line to no worries for our local residents, we have taken 2 measures. First, we have to identify the targeted group, and we will analyze their personal information, and we will analyze their financial conditions. We will roll out an all-rounded screening for all the eligible personnel will be included into the basic living allowance scheme. So this year we have conducted 6 rounds of inspection. Among the 7.8 million registered impoverished households, 1.8 million people have been included into the Social Security program. So we are doing what we can to make sure that all of our people's needs can be guaranteed as needed. There may be some people who are living under poverty. However, they have not yet met the standard of Social Security, and we will analyze these households one by one to make sure that for the disabled and the people who are suffer from severe disability can be included into our basic living allowance. And also we will analyze the overall expenditure for all of those households and offer assistance when necessary. And for some of the people who are living under extreme poverty, we will offer 3 to 12 months of assistance to this group of people. And also we will improve the basic living allowance scheme in the rural areas to make sure that the basic security can be fulfilled in Guizhou province. The provincial government will take the lead and make sure that people's basic needs can be met. And the annual expenses and the annual allowance will be provided to the household in Guizhou province, amounted to 4,318. And also, we will provide support in terms of the poverty alleviation through relocation. We will also offer temporary assistance to the impoverished population. And we will offer one-off subsidies to the impoverished personnel. And for people who have been relocated to other places, we will facilitate them with residence permit. And also these people will be also included into the basic living program. And right now, 385,000 people have been included into the basic living allowance scheme. One last question. So with the proposal of the fifth plenary of the 19th CPC National Congress, it said that we have to roll out classified poverty alleviation. So what's your take from the Ministry of Civil Affairs? Well, classified poverty alleviation is a key task that has been proposed by the fifth plenary session of the 19th CPC National Congress. And this is also very important for us to revitalize the rural areas. And this year, the central government have rolled out the policy to improve the social assistance and the social security program in China. It stipulates many measures in this regard. So one of the key content is to roll out classified poverty alleviation in different districts. Going next, we will put people's interest as our top priority, and also we will implement the decisions made by the proposals made from the 19th CPC National Congress. We will also make a lot of innovation in terms of the social assistance. First, we will build a multi-layer social assistance mechanism. We will analyze the difficulty level for our people. So the first layer of people cover people who are receiving basic living allowance and people who have been falling to the category that are living under extreme poverty. So these two groups of people are our key priority. So these people will be included into the basic social assistance program, meaning that these people will receive basic living education, they will living allowance, they will also receive support in terms of the medical services and the education. And the second group of people we have to attach importance is low-income families or expenditure-driven household. For this group of people, they may not reach the threshold to receive the basic living allowance, but still these people are living with difficulties. So this group of people, we will say they're low-income families or they're expenditure-driven families. So we will consider their actual situation and their challenges. So we will provide targeted assistance to this group of people. For example, for some households, their income may be higher than the threshold to receive the basic living allowance. However, these people may live in the shanty houses, or if maybe these people, they have elderly people in their household, and they may have some family members who are suffer from severe disabilities. So these people are still under a lot of challenges. So for these low-income families, considering their actual situation, so we may provide necessary support to ensure their basic needs. So this group of people is also very important for us. So we should not only address people who are receiving the basic living allowance, we also need to attend to the challenges and the difficulties that have been faced by other group of people. So by rolling out different measures, we can ensure that all people can ensure the basic living allowance as needed. However, if people who are not with the basic living program, they may face more severe challenges as compared to those who are receiving the basic living allowance. So we will analyze the situation by each one of the households and to offer help when necessary. And the third group of people, I would say the general public. So we will focus on people who are suffered from emergencies or epidemic. So for example, if some people are suffering from epidemic and they fall back into poverty, or these people will suffer from difficulties in their life, maybe we will offer the temporary assistance to these people to ensure their basic needs. And also we will focus on people who fail in their startup business. So all of these we will call accidents. So in this circumstance, we will provide temporary assistance to those group of people. So as I just said, we have like 3 layers of group we have to focus. So first is the people who are receiving the basic living allowance, or people who are falling into the category with extreme poverty. And the second layer is that for those people who have low income or have large amount of expenditure per month. And the third layer of people is that people who may suffered from accidents. So for accidents, we will say maybe they have some emergencies, or they're suffering from disasters or epidemic. And if these people fall into difficulties, and then we have to offer temporary assistance to these people to make sure that all people who are with difficulties can receive support as needed. So this is actually the spirit that has been proposed by the 5th plenary session of the 19th CPC National Congress. So we have to build up this mechanism. Second, we have to be proactive to identify all of those people who are living with difficulties. So if people who are faced with difficulties and challenges, they may file this application to local authorities to receive support and subsidies. However, we found for some people, they may not be aware of the policies, and they're not able to seek help from local authorities. So these people, what we call the silent group. So this group of people will be left behind from the policy. So according to the instruction of the Poverty Alleviation Office of the State Council, we have to be more proactive in identifying those people who are living with difficulties. So we have to identify these people instantly and to offer help in a timely manner. For some people, if they're encountered with emergencies, if the approval time takes like 2 or 3 months, it is very difficult for us to help these people. So for local authorities, they have to do inspections and investigations to their jurisdiction so that they could screen out and identify the targeted group as soon as possible. And also, we would like to roll out the rescue hotline, the 12349. So right now, we have rolled out this hotline in all counties. So in the future, if you are encountered with difficulties, you could seek help from the local community and also the local authority. You could just dial this hotline, the 12349, to seek assistance. Third, we will strengthen the supervision mechanism. We have to make good use of the big data to identify the people who are in need. For example, we will check the database. If we can find someone who has suffered from severe disease, they may have to pay a large amount of money on a monthly basis. So because of that, these people may live under difficulties. That's why we have to make use of the big data and provide supervision. So all in all, we need to be more proactive in identifying the targeted groups. By doing all of that, we could improve the way when we are offering the social assistance to the public. And also it poses a higher standard for us. So in the past, we are just quite passive to receive the request from our people. But now we have to be more proactive to identify those people who are living with difficulties. So we have to be dedicated in addressing the needs of these people. And third, we have to provide support for people who are suffering from disasters or emergencies. So for these people, we will provide small amount temporary subsidies to these people. For example, some people are suffering from emergencies or disasters. This affected group of population, they could seek support from the local authority, or we can also provide a proactive support to this group of people. And after we offer a small amount of subsidies to these people, and later on, these people can offer more explanation. So we will also follow up with the situation of this targeted group. And we could, after we verify the situation, we could provide more subsidies and support to those people. We just want to improve the timeliness in support. And also, we will eliminate the restriction of the residence limited program. For example, in the past, people can also apply for the temporary assistance in their local residence. However, under some situation, there may be a traffic accident, and some of the people, they are not in their local residence. So in this case, these non-local residents can also apply for one-off allowance from the local authority. And also we will offer support to people who are suffer from disease. And in the future, we will continue to improve our policies and regulations to offer more help to our people so that we can ensure their basic livelihood when necessary. So all of those temporary help, we have to improve the efficiency and the timeliness. So this is also one of our innovation for the social assistance. And the fourth, all of those social assistance should be convenient to our general public. We should delegate powers and streamline the government procedures and to share the social resources to all the targeted groups. So for the local authorities, they have to check out the database to identify people who are living with difficulties. And also, we will cancel some of the certificates. So for the local authorities, they will set up the service station and they will collect all the applications and make sure that all the approvals can be done in an efficient manner. So meaning that for those people who are living with difficulties, they do not have to go through a series of procedures to receive the support. For example, these people, if they want to receive support in education, medical services, and the housing, they may go to different departments. So in the future, we will just want to unify the platform so that these people can only file one application before they receive the subsidies. So altogether, we have the 4 areas of work. So we have to be proactive, and also we have to be innovative to address the needs for people with difficulties, especially for those people who are faced with emergencies and disasters. For people who are living with difficulties in all aspects, so they all eligible to receive the help. For all of the proposals made by the 19th CPC National Congress, State Council, as well as the Poverty Alleviation Office, they have made a lot of instructions in poverty alleviation, and this will help us to meet people's needs as needed. So for the suggestions that has been proposed by the 19th CPC National Congress and the State Council, they have actually come up a series of regulations and policies. So I hope in the future you should focus more on the innovation and improvement for the social assistance regulations, because all of these regulations will serve our people and make sure that their basic needs can be guaranteed. Thank you all the speakers. That's the end of the press conference.